I'm Keegan, and I'm at the Bruins-Capitals game, and you're watching Post to Post.
Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. Thanks very much for clicking on this video. It's titled, Why the Nashville Predators Could Win the Stanley Cup. And honestly, the way things are looking right now, I'm going to rattle off a few stats for you. It really does look like they could get back to the Stanley Cup Finals. They just look phenomenal in all aspects of their game. I'm going to go over the stats. But first, as you'll notice, I'm not wearing any Nashville Predators gear. It's actually a team that I don't have any merchandise for. No t-shirts, no jerseys, no hats. Unfortunately, nothing. Now, there's a few other teams that I don't have any merchandise for. So we're going to run just a little bit of a quiz here. And there's no prize. It's just I'll give your a comment a heart if you can guess the team. And so I'm going to give you a few, but there's one that I'm going to leave out, and if you can guess it below, I'll heart your comment. So Chicago, I don't have any Chicago gear. Technically, I have a Chicago hat, but I can't wear because it doesn't fit, and it's Justin's. The Vegas Golden Knights, that's true right now, but someone's actually sending me quite a bit of Vegas gear, so that's going to change. Los Angeles, Nashville, like I said, Buffalo, I don't have any Buffalo gear, and there's one other team, I'm not going to say it. If you can name it down below in the comments, I'll give your comment a heart. And I appreciate you. If you do know that, then you've been watching for a while, so I appreciate your long-time viewership. So we're here to talk about the Nashville Predators. It's a team that went to the finals last year, and I don't want to say easily went to the finals, but it almost felt that way because when they started playing Chicago, it wasn't really a fight. They were all in from game one of the Stanley Cup playoffs last year. They were at 110% all the way. They were getting offense from the back end on their defense. They were getting offense from up above. They were getting great power play success. Rene played amazing. It was really special to see a team that just snuck into the playoffs, really, just snuck into the playoffs, go on a run like that. It's the most special kind of thing to watch in hockey, in my opinion. It was kind of like when the Los Angeles Kings, I think, just snuck in 8th in 2012, I think, maybe, and they went all the way, won the Cup. It's a pretty special and remarkable thing, and they could be in the same situation this coming year, except for not sneaking into the playoffs, dominating the regular season, and easily getting into the playoffs, but still have the same result as getting back to the Stanley Cup Finals. And I believe that they probably have the best chance as of right now in the Western Conference. And I know there's teams like Winnipeg's playing really well, St. Louis is playing really well, Vegas is playing really well, but I just look at the Nashville team, and I really think they have everything going for them in almost every statistic. And I want to talk a little bit about those statistics and what they're good at and what they're not good at. And honestly, there's nothing that they're not good at. It's pretty remarkable. So they've played 31 games so far. They're 27-4 with 44 points. That's actually first in the Central, and it's actually first in the West as I'm filming this. Now, it's Friday night, and this video probably won't go up until tomorrow, which is Saturday. There's games on right now. Standings are going to change, so just keep that in mind that I'm filming this a day before it's going to go up. But generally, right now, it's basically all the same. So they're first in the West, and they're actually second in the league as of right now. That's pretty amazing. They're in goals for, they're sixth in the league, which is awesome. In goals against, they're seventh. When you're in the top 7 in both goals for and goals against, those are two categories that you need to be in and you need to be satisfied with, and you are satisfied with. That didn't really make sense, but you know what I mean. And goal differential, they're number 4, so they're like high offense and great defense. So that's again, like every one of these statistics are in the top 10. It's remarkable. Power play, number 2. The second best power play in the league. Man, oh man. Penalty kill, 8th. This is their worst category. So 8th is their worst ranking in the league in their penalty kill, which is still pretty dang good. So, man, oh man. And face-off percentage, they're number 2 in the league. Ask Sidney Crosby how important face-offs are last year in the playoffs. Remarkable. Like, if face-offs are such a small part of the game that not a lot of people pay attention to, but they're one of the most important aspects of the game. It goes unnoticed, and to have a few really specialty face-off guys on your team can make the world of difference, seriously. Goals for per game, they're number 5 in the league, and goals against per game, they're number 7. So like I said, top 10 in basically every single category. It's remarkable. If you look at the actual players on the team, the top 7 players on the team in points, how many do you think are defensemen? I just want to give you a second just to think about it. Of the 7, how many do you think are defensemen? 3. 3 of the 3 defensemen and 4 forwards make up this top 7 in points on the team. And if you look at last year, and you look at all of the offense that Nashville got from their blue line, from Josi, from Subban, from Ellis, I mean, seriously, there was endless amounts from offensive production, and not just offensive production, but forward-moving puck execution. Like, they were just constantly, like, streaming passes up and skating. They have probably one of the quickest defensive cores in the league, if not the quickest. I love watching Nashville play based on that reason just alone. And those 3 defensemen in the top 7 are Subban, Josi, and Ekholm. And it sucks that Ellis is going through a bit of an injury stuff right now, because he's a great guy. If you've ever seen him in an interview, he's a fun-loving guy. He's a humorous guy, and it sucks to see him out of the lineup, because if Nashville can do this without Ryan Ellis, what can they do with Ryan Ellis? So it's exciting. So this time last year, so let's go back a year. So December, right now I think it's December, it's December 15th. So December 15th, 2016, 1 year ago today, where were the Nashville Predators? Well, they were out of the playoffs. They were out of a playoff spot. They only had 30 points, and 30 points was still enough to keep them in the running of eventually making the playoff push, which they did, as obviously we know. But if we look at this year, and the teams in and around 30 points, so we look at Nashville last year, 30 points. So hypothetically, we look at teams this year around 30 points, and I want to name off all the teams who have 30 points or more and are out of the playoffs. So that's Vancouver, Colorado, Anaheim, Calgary, Chicago, Carolina, Montreal, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh. All of those teams have more points than 30 and are still out of a playoff spot. And that just goes to show you that a team, maybe like Carolina, very similar games played, very similar point total as Nashville last year. Can you see Carolina really going on a run near the end of the year, making the playoffs maybe in 8th and getting all the way to the Cup Finals? Probably not. I love Scott Darling. He's one of my favorite goalies in the league. He was the best backup last year. That's why he got a starting position this year, in my opinion. I think UC Saros was a close second. But can you really see a team like Carolina going to the Stanley Cup Finals this year? Yeah, probably not. If you had asked me that question last year, the same day, about Nashville, probably would have said probably not. But things happen, right? And I think that if you look at the position that Nashville's in, the team hasn't changed much. The team's gotten better. They've got tourists. I know that they lost Fisher and Neal, and there have been some revolving door players and stuff, but generally the team is about the same, if not better. In my opinion, it is better. Obviously, look at them. They're doing great. But I think that it's not... How do I word this? I don't think that the pressure of last year has anything to do with how they're playing this year. And what I mean by that is when I was predicting how well Nashville would do this coming season, I was personally worried about the pressure that they might feel this coming year or this season because of what happened to them in last year's playoffs. They got all the way to the finals and they didn't get it done. I hope that I was fearful that they would feel pressured to at least repeat that amount of success and get back to the Stanley Cup Finals. I felt like maybe some of the guys were worried and had a bit of that weight on their shoulders. And honestly, it hasn't been the case at all. I think they've just rebounded fantastic from it. They really wanted to play hard every single night. So I was wrong, and that's totally okay. I'm very happy with being wrong. Love to watch the team play, and to see them rebound from that really tough loss last year in the Stanley Cup Finals is great news. And that goes for any team. Any team that loses in the Stanley Cup Finals it's the most heartbreaking thing in hockey, and to rebound from that and see a team do good the following year is pretty nice. And unfortunately, the Ottawa Senators, who didn't make it to the Stanley Cup Finals but almost did, they're at the opposite end of the spectrum. They overachieved last year, and now they're really struggling. And luckily, they won a game recently, which is awesome, and they might win tomorrow against Montreal in the outdoor game. Who knows? We'll see. But they can still turn it around as well. So two drastically different teams there, but handling the pressure a different way, I think. The last thing I want to touch on is the cap space in Nashville, 4.7. So there's some wiggle room there. You could slide in. You could slide into fourth line players, maybe third line player, if you really needed to, if injuries happen and stuff. Or you could maybe slot in it really depends. I don't know. I'm trying to think of players in and around 5 million. Evander Kane comes to mind because he's probably on his way out of Buffalo. So I'm thinking of how you could fit Evander Kane in Nashville, and where would he slot in? Probably on the third line. He might get some time on the second line. Probably not, though. That's just my opinion. But I think he's making around 5.25. He's a UFA this coming year, so it's a bit of a risk, kind of like the Hansel deal last year, what we saw out of Arizona towards Minnesota. But 4.7, so they don't have quite enough. But if they traded someone like, I don't really know. I don't know off the top of my head. Maybe McLeod. I think he's making like around 800,000 or 900,000. If you trade away McLeod, I think he's a UFA as well. You probably have to give away a pick. I think Nashville has 2 4th-round picks next year. Maybe throw in that pick, and Buffalo's going to lose Evander Kane anyway. So even though they might not get a wealth of jewels back for Evander Kane that he may have gotten if he actually had a contract in place. Since he's a UFA, they might have a hard time getting really great assets back. So they might have to do something and take a few pieces from Nashville. But anyways, that's just total speculation. My point was that Nashville can relieve some of the salary issues to make room for someone like Evander Kane. And it doesn't have to be Evander Kane. There's 10 or 15 other examples of players who could come in at the trade deadline for Nashville and really help out the team. Can Evander Kane help Nashville? I don't really know. I've never really been a fan of Evander Kane. He's got a bit of an attitude, and I think he has a bit of a cockiness to him. Is he a good player? Absolutely. Evander Kane is extremely talented, one of the most talented players on the Buffalo Sabres, if not the most talented player on the Buffalo Sabres. So it would be exciting to see him play in Nashville, but at the same time, I'm not sure if he would specifically help the team. I'm not sure if he's a good fit. There are other players out there, like I said. But I just want to talk about the Nashville Predators. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you're a Nashville Predators fan, you gotta be happy. It's a glorious time to watch the team right now. And man, those fans, it's got to be one of the loudest buildings. If you look at the playoffs last year and this year watching regular season games, really fun to see that city go crazy, that arena go crazy. And man, when they score a goal, it gets so loud in there. So thanks guys for watching this video. Appreciate it. I haven't talked about Nashville for a while, and I wanted to do that and make this video. So there's a few other teams out there that I don't talk about a lot, and mainly because there's not a lot of drama that comes out of these teams. Like LA, there's not really much drama that ever comes out of LA. Columbus is a pretty low-key team, not much drama there, surprisingly, because of Torts, but a few other teams that don't get enough people talking about them, and I do apologize for that. I'm going to try and expand the scope of the rest of the teams on the channel. So stick around for that. Appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.